Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting on Tuesday, November 1st. It is already November. Mrs. Pazerski, if you could please call the roll.
Mrs. Brate, Ms. Boyd, Mr. Guerre, Ms. Stetson, Mr. Costello.
Here. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could please also join me in the Peace Builders Pledge. I am a peace builder. I pledge to praise people, to give up put-downs, to seek wise people, to notice and speak up about hurts I've caused, to right wrongs, to help others. I will build peace at home, at school, and in my community each day. Under the open meeting law, I'm informing the public that this meeting is being videotaped by Marshfield Community Television. If anybody else is taping this meeting, either audio or video, please notify us of such at this time. Seeing none, our Spotlight on Excellence tonight could not be here, so we are going to push that off to our next meeting. Can't wait for that. And we might as well go ahead and start with our student representatives. We'll have them go first. Student representatives, you can kick us off.
At the middle school this week, there will be a guest author that will speak to each grade about respect. The courtyard is officially closed for this year, so no schools or no grades can walk through anymore. For the high school, Fun Fest was a success. We had that on Saturday from 12 to 3 for all ages. And on Thursday, we're going to be hosting our NHS induction for all kids who had qualified.
For MES, they had their dress in black and orange on yesterday for Halloween. They have grade 1 celebration with veterans, which was today. And then on the 18th of November, they have grade 2 presentation called Our Pretty Planet. Then for SRS, yesterday they had pumpkins on parade, and then on the 3rd they have picture retake.
DWS, Tim Farmer, the firefighter, visited, I believe, the first graders, and he made a presentation for them. And today was a 3rd grade trip to Plymouth. Ames Way, today is Family Literacy Day, and yesterday at 2 p.m. they had their costume parade event. And at Governor Winslow, they're starting a before-school program called Kids Fit, and it will run on Wednesdays and Fridays until December.
Awesome. Thank you, folks. We appreciate it. Okay, we'll head into our informational, and I'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino.
Okay, first off, Ms. October, so you just want to hold for 1 second.
Nicole.
One of the things I was going to mention was my report. I wanted to make mention of CMASC and how Marshfield High School hosted the CMASC conference last week. Nicole was one of the CMASC board of directors.
Nice.
On the board as well, and she presented. But overall, the Marshfield High School Student Council just did a fantastic job. We had almost 600 students from around the southeastern part of the state. They had leadership workshops throughout the day. They had guest speakers. It was awesome. And the energy I felt in the morning, I got to say a few words at the beginning. It was a real honor to do that. And just a real exciting day for Marshfield, and to be able to host such a big event is really speaks to the success and the level of expertise that our student council members have at Marshfield High School. So congratulations. Nice job.
Nice job. Yes. Well done.
Also, just a quick follow-up and a thanks to the folks at special town meeting. That was actually the last time we met. It was held at the high school a few weeks back, and just to recap, we had a couple items in capital that we had spoken about beforehand. We had $200,000 going to our maintenance account to help augment some of our extraordinary costs that arise during the school year. As well, we had $600,000 that went towards generators for our elementary schools. Some of our elementary schools do not have generators, or they need upgrades, so that money will be able to go towards that. As well, the town voted to support the purchase of property that we've been talking about at 255 Furnace Street. It's a big endeavor, and we're excited to undertake that work. It's planning on being opened in September of 2023. We have some work to do. I outlined some of that work at the town meeting. Just to refresh folks' memories, we're going to have to install a new generator, do some ground floor mold mitigation. We have to double the size of our septic tank, restore some of the low-level flooring and walls that had some damage, replace existing handicap ramp, as well as some interior ground floor waterproofing. So we knew this going in. The price, though, for the building, the town and the schools felt was very advantageous for us to be able to add that kind of space for our preschool. We'll be using, we won't be able to take all of our preschool students, but it'll take a good chunk and alleviate some of the space issues that we have at our existing elementary schools. And down the road, as we get closer to universal pre-K, which is one step away, I believe the House is, the Senate has already voted for it at the State House, and the House will be deliberating on that when they come back in January. So this will give us a little wiggle room if we do find ourselves, having to find extra space. Districts right now are trying to do the same thing. I know Norwell bought a piece of property, a large property, and they're not sure what they're going to do with it, but they might look at it for a school space as well. But we're excited about it, some work to do, and we're ready to do that, and we'll be kind of updating you along the way as the work gets done. The sale has not officially happened yet, the closing date. We've been checking the town hall. Some of the folks involved in that have been out, so they're going to probably set the date next week sometime. I don't know how far out it will go. And then once that happens, we can start doing some of the work. I know I checked in with Fred Russell and asked him to kind of prioritize these items that are existing that have to get done, and what can we do with our existing dollars, in our maintenance or any of our capital articles that have passed in the past. Use some of that money for some of this work. So. But we'll keep you up to date on things as they progress, but we're excited about that. MEF Giving Campaign, Marshfield Education Foundation, you'll be seeing emails and reminders about it, but the month of November, MEF, which again just passed the $1 million mark in donations to our staff over the last 11 years, one of their big fundraising efforts is the Giving Campaign in November, and they'll be reaching out to folks across the community. So anyone you know out there that wants to support a little bit, the MEF, every dollar helps. As you know, those grants that they help support promote creativity, ingenuity in the classroom. And again, we've been able to do some amazing things across the board at all levels of our district with those $1 million in donations, or in grants, I should say, from the MEF. And they're working real hard at it, and we'll have some more reminders throughout the month. But they're excited to kick off their campaign today. Let me see. I just want to note one thing. I don't usually highlight a sporting event like this, but I thought something I saw Friday night was worth mentioning here, because it really speaks to the level of maturity, the teamwork, the kind of we are Marshfield mentality that they have across the district, but especially at the high school. I was at the football game the other night. They won. They qualified, obviously, for the tournament that starts this week. They'll be hosting a playoff game. But at halftime, Coach Aruka kept his players on the field, because usually they go in, they strategize, they rest, they cool off or whatever in the locker room. But each game this year, the cheerleaders, the dance team, the band are out there supporting them. They're supporting them throughout the game. And Coach Aruka took it upon himself to keep his players out on the field. And they sat with the cheerleaders and the dance team, and they watched the band and perform, and then they watched the cheerleaders and the dance team. I just thought it was really neat. You don't usually see that in any level of football. I mean, usually that's sacrosanct, that time, the 20 minutes, 15 minutes that they get, they go in and rest. But they sat out there and they thought it was really important to show their support for the people that have been supporting them. So I just want to say kudos to Coach Aruka and the football team. Also, just a big congrats to our boys and girls cross country team. They won the Patriot League Championship this past week. And we had numerous all-stars in the Patriot League, one of whom happens to be related to somebody at the table over here, Ms. Miller, and many other of her teammates made the all-league team. And so it was a great day. The boys team ran great. The girls were phenomenal. And it's off to, what do you get this weekend? Is this weekend divisionals, or is that next weekend? Next weekend's divisionals, and then they do all states. Just a quick reminder as well that we have homework-free weekend coming up next week to help commemorate Veterans Day. We ask our students and our staff to kind of get away from the books over that weekend and try to turn some of that time into positive energy, helping or doing something to thank a veteran. Whether it's just going to the parade on the 11th at 11 o'clock in the morning, or helping a neighbor who might be a veteran, or it could be a relative, and shaking their hand and saying thank you. We've been doing this since, I think we missed it my first year, but every year after that we've done it. So this is our 7th year doing it. So we're excited for that. Also, the indoor track is open. We've been sending out reminders, but those of you that are out there that might not have heard, if you want to get your indoor track pass, you can do so. It's open, does it today, right, Johnny?
Yes.
So you just need to come down, fill out a query form at downstairs here at the Ventress, and then we'll get a pass that will get you into that area. So as the winter months start coming our way and it gets a little chillier and people want to walk in a nice, safe indoor atmosphere, they'll be able to do so. What are the hours again? Is it after 4 o'clock in the afternoon?
I believe it's,
Sorry, but I know there's morning time before school starts and then afternoon, evening
I think
time.
it's 5 to 8 in the evening.
5 to 8 in the evening, and then I think is it 5:30 to 7 or 6 to 7 in the morning?
It is 5 a.m. to 6:30 a.m.
There you go.
5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Perfect. So if those are interested in doing that, still have time to come in and sign up and get your pass. And that is all I have.
Great. Thank you very much. Dr. Martin?
All right, I just want to reiterate about the Student Council Fun Fest on Saturday. It was jam-packed, and the kids did an amazing job, and kudos to Mrs. Vitez and everyone that helped out that day. Elementary curriculum night went well, so thank you to our teachers who prepared, and thank you to our parents and guardians and caregivers who came out that night to learn more about what's happening in our classrooms. Our curriculum docs went live on our website today, so the middle school and high school documents are all up there under the school. You will see in the menus. Furnace Brook has a site that just says FBMS curriculum maps or curriculum documents, and high school documents are all under the departments. So there are still a few still being worked on, so there are just a couple that have a few holes, but for the most part, all of those are live and updated, and that was a multi-year task. So thank you to all the teachers who got those finished and completed and ready to go. So go take a peek. They're all in the same format. It looks pretty amazing. So other things happening, PD, the Choice PD is in full swing. We had about 30 different groups going last Wednesday. All with different feedback, all with different things going, book studies, PLCs at both the middle and high school. So there were people everywhere in every crevice of the building, working on what was meaningful to them. So that will be going all year. CLT, which is our curriculum leadership team, which is comprised of administrators, department heads, and coordinators at the middle school. We are focusing on universal design for learning this year. So last Monday, we worked with the department heads to look at ways to incorporate UDL into their lessons. And then the principals and APs looked at ways to incorporate UDL into their staff meetings. So we're looking forward to hearing the feedback next month. Open SciEd, Mr. Granatino was able to see it in action. I went to see it in action in a couple of classrooms. The kids were so engaged. It was just amazing to see, and they were all on task, on target, talking about science. I know I had texted Ms. Stetson a picture of one of her daughters immersed in writing, and she said, yeah, she doesn't understand why the teacher isn't giving them the answer. So it's really a different way of thinking and teaching, so that was great. And just one other thing, coaching is going on from Teaching and Learning Alliance. We still have our partnership with them. They are working on writing at our elementary schools, and they are doing some coaching in classrooms, in the English classrooms at the middle school. So lots of PD, lots of curriculum stuff going on. That's it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Miller?
A lot going on as well. One highlight is our municipal county system will be going live on December 1st. So it's been a multi-year project. A lot of work involved the town hall, and we'll be training this month and going live on December 1st. So hopefully all goes well.
Great. Thank you very much. Any subcommittee reports at this time? Nope. Okay. Seeing none, this is the point of the meeting for public participation. Any member of the public wishes to speak and address the committee, please do so at this time. And I see none. The MEA update. I'll invite Ms. Marples up to give the update from the MEA.
Am I on?
You don't need that.
Well, I don't know if we're filming or not, you know?
Yes, you are on. We can hear you.
Sarah Marples, President of the Marshfield Education Association. First of all, I would like to remind our parents that we have a phenomenal staff, and we hope that you will make sure that you follow your kids' progress and make sure you communicate with your teachers of your children if they have questions. This is the time of year when children and parents start getting a little nervous because report cards are coming out, and sometimes people get surprised. And one of the things we've done, I think, very effectively in this district is to develop the tools and make them available for our parents, for our students, and for our teachers to keep track of the students' progress on a day-to-day basis. So please, if you have any questions or concerns, make sure you reach out to your child. Well, first ask your child, because they might be able to tell you what's going on, and then make sure you reach out to the teacher, whether it's through an email or for going to parent-teacher conferences, or however you feel comfortable making sure you touch base with your teacher, because we want to do the best we can for your students and make them successful, because that's what our jobs are all about. When we go in every day, is to make your child grow mentally and emotionally, hopefully, so that at the end of 12 years in the Marshfields, or 13 if you go to kindergarten, after 13 years in the Marshfield schools, they go out and they represent you and this community in very successful and contributory ways. I also want to thank all the parents for the fun times we've had over the beginning of this school year. Our PTOs have been so supportive. They provide us with snacks. They reach out to us. I want to thank parents for coming out to our parent nights so that we get to see your faces and get to identify you with your child. And I'm hoping that as we move forward in the year, that things will get a little easier, our kids will get a little more used to being there every day on time, and that we all have an extremely successful school year. So thank you for the support of the school committee, from our parents, and from the community, and thank you especially to our veterans who have made it possible for us to have a community where we can have these discussions and hopefully provide our children with a successful future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Marples, as always. Yes, please.
Just a quick reminder, I don't know if you mentioned it, I was listening, but I don't think you did. Next Tuesday, just election day. Election day, so schools will be closed, but staff will be busy. Full day of professional development. Dr. Martin's been working on this for months, along with the leadership folks, and so we're excited for a real good day of PD for staff, and students will be able to stay home, and those that can vote, I hope they're voting, as well as the adults in town as well. So that's all.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to, with the committee's consent, we'll move the minutes to the end of the meeting, and we'll head right into our old business, which is school improvement plans. We've got 3 grade principals and 1 grade assistant principal here to give us the update on these school improvement plans. Would invite you to come forward at this time, whichever one of you would like to go first. Does not matter to me. Mrs. Kemet.
What Mrs. Marples didn't tell you is that she joined Furnaceburg yesterday when we transformed into Star Wars.
Nice.
And she was Yoda.
Oh, that's the best.
Hysterical.
No way.
So we started a few years ago. Where are the pictures? Oh, there are pictures. Lots of pictures.
We're going to need those.
Yes, we started a couple years ago doing a surprise theme for students, and we were Star Wars. So
How happy was Sean Ball?
You have to. Completely. The hallways decorated the calf. It was hysterical. Our senior custodian changed the sign out front to Star Wars. It was all lit up.
That's really cool. Well done.
Anyways, that's not part of our school improvement plan, but I was just sharing with my principal friends about her costume, which was hysterical.
That's awesome.
So I'm very excited to introduce our school improvement plan for the coming year. There's going to be similarities to what you've heard from my Ms. Dr. Martin and Mr. Granatino. So in our first pillar, which is curriculum, we are continuing to work on our full curriculum frameworks across all areas. We do have some of the documents up on the website. We're still refining some things, as always, with good curriculum writing. But we've also made sure we infused Vision of the Graduate, which is a requirement for Marshfield High School. We have different assessments we have to do for our EL friends, as well as Castle SELs, which are embedded everywhere in the Marshfield Public Schools. We continue to look at bias in our materials and evaluate curriculum documents. It's a big part of what we talked about, and just building those competencies and skills in our students. In our Pillar 2, which is instruction, we're still working a lot on Chromebook initiatives. Mr. Cawthon really appreciates that we continue to make sure we have less broken Chromebooks, and so we're always working on that. And UDL, Universal Design for Learning, is infused everywhere. So as we're talking about, Dr. Martin highlighted Open SciEd. I hope some members of the committee can come see that in action, because while there's a lot of angst over some new stuff and a very new style of instruction, the magic we're seeing in the kids is making it worth it. And we're only in November 1st. So we're in year 1 of a 3-year project. We know there's going to be some ups and downs, but when you see the looks in the face and the aha moments, I think it's going to be worth it. Our math teacher's very, very busy with a lot of math instruction changes, as well as our new program. But after little bumps in the road, I'm hearing a lot of aha moments with those students and staff too. So there's some great stuff going on, curriculum across the board. Super proud of that. And UDL, today I happen to have a different meeting, but we have faculty meeting, and we're highlighting great strategies in UDL at all of our faculty meetings, as well as other best practices. We always learn best from people within, in my opinion. And we have some very skilled educators at Furnace Brookers across the district, and it's been really good to see that. We will always continue. Middle school is all about developing a sense of self and building their social emotional skills, not just about themselves, but about their friends and the world around them. And we've really been refining our multi-tiered system of support. Try to infuse a lot of behavioral supports. Mrs. Scalaro is not here, but she's been instrumental in working with all of us across the district, but certainly at Furnace Brook. She's been a great support and help as we get better in refining those practices. One thing, and I did highlight it at our Spotlight on Excellence just a few weeks ago, is at Furnace Brook we're doing a lot on student agency and giving students choice and more voice and some better control over their education, and more than anything, try to find the passion what they're doing. And that's going to be something that we continue to work on across this year and future years. Community is huge, because Furnace Brook, it's not just about themselves. The middle school students, we often remind them that they live in a great school community and town community and the larger world. So we're always looking to partner with members of the community, and as the world gets better after we come back from the pandemic, I think there's more and more opportunities for that, and we're always looking for partnerships. One of the things, Miss Stetson's not here, but she was on our school council, and we're really trying to find ways to support some of our families that may not require the help from Robin Ryan Lambert, but there's still some families that still are in some need. So we, my school council and I, that's something they're really passionate about, is trying to find ways to support those families that might not be as noticeable as others as needing some things. So for example, I had a student last year, a female student, who had never had a haircut done professionally. She's always either done it herself or her mother's done it. So we found a way, through a generous anonymous donor that only I know who it is, to make sure that girl got a haircut and a style with a tip. We talked about how that was done. So sometimes we take for granted that those students don't have those opportunities sometimes. So we're finding some great ways to do that, and Ryan Lambert's been a great asset for that. And finally, we're always looking, spaces is, even though our population's declining, and Mr. Miller didn't look at me, but he knows that, but space is still at a premium at Furnace Brook. So Mr. Miller has been great about helping us get creative with some spacing and some funding to have more outside opportunities, maybe not as the fall's coming and our courtyard's not closed, is now closed for the season for a while. But that's to students independently, not with teachers. But we're always looking to maximize our space and make that learning environment better for our students. And so there's different things with furniture we need, and we're working with Mr. Miller and his team to better supply our school with what we need. It's French work in a nutshell.
Great. Well, thank you very much. So just as a reminder to the committee, we do need to vote to accept these. I'd like to do that at the end of the presentations, and we can accept them all as one. But at the end of each presentation, I'll just ask if you have any questions or comments for the principal presenting. Any questions or comments for Ms. Kemp?
Okay, great.
Awesome.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much, Ms. Kemet. And I got to tell you, after your spotlight on excellence a couple weeks ago, I am very excited that Aiden Keelty sent me an email, and I will be on his podcast soon.
Oh, you'll have to let me know
I
when.
can't wait for that. And I'll have to
that's
see
great.
I'm sure he'll have some tough questions.
He is one interesting, great guy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
he's-
really
I
impressive
can't wait
kid.
to see what he does.
Yeah, really impressive
he's great.
kid.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Speak your mind on those things.
I know it.
No sense. All right. Very similar. Your counterparts did the same a couple weeks ago. Ms. Hubbard and Ms. Beard kind of double teamed us as well.
Yeah, she's going to roll. Okay. I know.
Ms. Milch, I hope you're okay. Oh, very dangerous business.
It was not an axe throwing accident.
Oh, no. All right, we're going to present as a unified front from the elementary level. We have very similar school improvement plans. Our curriculum is very consistent across the district. So I'm going to start us off with our curriculum. Our biggest change in our curriculum in the last year has been the adoption of our new math curriculum. We went through the curriculum review cycle to select it, and it was selected by 100% of the participants for the Bridges program. So we've been working on an implementation plan for year one this year. The amount of support that our teachers are getting through our math coaches and time on learning has been phenomenal. I mean, we get to sit in as principals every now and then on a professional development session. They are presenting, each unit in its entirety, working backwards design through the units, developing lessons, giving them time to plan, and actually showing them how to plan. It's phenomenal work that's happening around the math curriculum. In addition to that, we also adopted a district-wide math assessment platform, which is a diagnostic assessment in iReady that went K-8, so the middle school got a chance to utilize that as well. That has been, again, instrumental for our teachers really pinpointing where the strengths and weaknesses of our students are in the area of math. So that went hand in hand with the selection of our program. Along with curriculum, we are also, I know a lot of our leaders in the district are working through a mass tiered systems of support implementation this year, really diving deep into, looking at our students, looking at the data, looking at their needs, and bringing them through that process of really beefing up tier one, thinking, what interventions they need for tier two and what specialized instruction they may need for tier three. So that's really the work that's being done in curriculum. In instruction, we are continuing our partnership with the Teaching and Learning Alliance. In the last year, we've done a lot of work around Writers Workshop and best practices in writing. Our teachers have gone through professional development sessions where they're, again, dissecting units of study, looking to see what are their big, takeaways from each unit, looking at assessment, pre-assessments, post-assessments, what their students have learned. So a lot of really, really great work in the areas of curriculum and instruction happening at the elementary level.
I'm going to talk a little bit about SEL, and I know that we do a little bit of different things at the school, so you guys chime in because I don't want to just steal the thunder. So we, obviously with the pandemic, we've had a lot more social emotional issues come up, so we've always tried to focus on that, but we're trying even harder to do that. And so we are still following the district plan as far as the 5 CASEL competencies, and there's a little calendar we basically use to kind of track ourselves. And so each month or 2 months, we're focusing on one of those 5 things. And those are covered in the daily morning meetings in the classrooms, and then we have morning meetings once a week. That at MES, we've really tried to build those up. The kids are excited about them. We had We've had kids come up and do skits. We've had kids come up and they're so cute. They wrote the skit themselves. They sing, they do a lot of different things, and so the kids have the ownership of those meetings, and so they look forward to it and ask when it's their turn, so that's pretty cool. And all of those things are focused on whatever the monthly or bi-monthly theme is. One of the things we also saw last year at MES, and I know also at Daniel Webster, was a big uprise in our EL population, and it happened really fast, and like the first month of school. So all year we were trying to find ways to kind of catch up because we really weren't equipped to teach the students the way we knew they needed to be taught. So some of the things that we had talked about in our councils was what are ways that we can incorporate these students and make them feel part of our community as well as their families. So some of the things that we have been trying to work on, we put signage up in the building. We have most of our EL students are Portuguese speaking, so we now have, like for our bathrooms, we have Portuguese signs for the boys and girls and things like that. And we started a Diversity Spirit Week, which featured students being able to decorate their flag of their heritage, and their students were able to come in and share recipes that they had, and they were able to dress in their heritage, clothing, and so that was a really big hit. Of course, it's just 1 week in the whole year, so we're like, what else could we do? So we're still trying to find ways to do that, and thank you to all of you, because we also were able to add more staff to teach our students. So now we have 2 EL teachers. We started with 1. We have now 2. We have 2 bilingual aides, and we have the family liaison. With those people, when we had our curriculum night, we had a full house of our EL population. The room was packed, and it was so exciting to see that we were able to get the families, and that had never happened before. So thank you, because we were able to get the families to come in because we had people that could communicate with them better. So that was exciting. And then lastly, one of the things that we're doing at MES, and this came from Annie Roman, who's our representative of the diverse population. She came up with the wonderful idea of having around the world lunches. We had our first one last week, and Annie kicked it off so that we could kind of set the tone, and the kids absolutely loved it. She did her presentation during lunches on Inner Mongolia. She had a slideshow. She had beautiful pictures. She brought and set up a whole table of all kinds of clothing and artifacts, and she did a question and answer at the end, and even like the kindergartners, I was like, oh, they're not going to be able to answer these questions. Those kids knew the answers because she had them so engaged, and the kids went home and told their parents all about it. So we have another one coming up at the end of this month that we're really excited about. It's going to be on Lebanon, so we're looking forward to that. So that's a new thing that we've started. There's still a lot more we can do, but it's a start. So those are some of the things that we have put in here.
Awesome. I ditto.
Well, obviously, SEL and knowing your community is so important, and we find those unique things in our elementary schools. So one of the benchmarks we have is to build that empathy piece, and for kids to have these learning experiences that connect us and what makes Marshfield so special. So I can speak about what we did at Amesway School. I know that you also have these common experiences because it's our dear goal for our kids. The partnerships are so important to us. Our school council members, the parent representatives, the community representative, and myself were on this little subcommittee. How can we make something meaningful to our 5th graders? It was a pilot program for our 5th graders. And we connected with the Magical Moon Foundation on Summer Street. And I'm not sure if you know about their purpose, but Donna Green, the founder, her specialty is to connect kids who are ill and bring them to wellness or understanding. So there was just a vast area where we could tap into. It's a working farm, and some of our families are so familiar with it, it just worked really well. So we connected with people not a vendor, but a company who would donate the shirts. We used the multi-purpose Marshfield Public School bus to reduce the transportation costs. It was a 3-day event, half-day events, and it included working the farm the first day. Kids got so dirty. They loved it. They wanted so much more of that day. So we're learning how we're going to tweak it in the future. And they learned about eating well, eating the rainbow. Charlie Bernazos of Ember cooked for us the middle day, and the kids learned about what color food benefits you. So eating the rainbow was something they learned that day. And then the last day, they had drumming stations, they had a swing. It wasn't recess. It was hard work, and they got a lot out of it. So we're going to continue that with Donna Green this year, and we had a wonderful time, but the kids wanted more. So
That's awesome. Sounds like good practice for We Are Marshfield project.
I can vouch, my own child went to that program, and I still hear about it. So yes, it was amazing. Just to end us off in the learning environments pillar, this summer, in this past year, all of our elementary schools have gone through a number of safety enhancements with the double door entries, the badge entries. So that has enhanced all of our learning environments in the area of safety, definitely. So that's something that all of our elementary schools have benefited from. So, yeah.
Great.
How are folks, just I'm curious, how are folks taking to having to wait? And it's a little different when they used to go through the door, walk in the front office, hang out at the counter, talk to people, and they have to kind of pause there and kind of stay in that little area. Are they?
No problems at all. I mean, I know we've been, really strict about showing ID to get, in and out of the building. I mean, it's really enhanced and no complaints. I mean, who can complain with safety? There's a reason why we're doing it, to keep all of our kids and families safe, so.
And we've had our setup pretty much since the beginning, so we haven't had any trouble with that. We did use our Raptor system for the first time today, and it worked. It was great. So that was really cool. So yeah, we had a parent come in, and she was like, "I'm the first customer," so it was cool. But,
Excellent.
That's awesome.
yeah.
Any other questions or comments for this trio? No? I'd just like to say really quickly, and this goes for all of you, for the 3 principals that we had here before, and for all of your staffs. I think what I love about these presentations is that among all of you, there is no sense of stagnation. There's no emphasis on what we're doing right now is good enough. There's always, what can we do better? What more can we do? How can we benefit our students more? And that's what's driving you, and it's very clear. So obviously we have the right people at the forefront of our schools, and you have the right people working with you as well. And that's I think the major takeaway for me here is that you're always looking to see how you can do better for your students, and that makes me feel very comfortable about the directions you're taking your schools. So thank you very much for being here and for sharing all this. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Grimm.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed, I'm sure you went to school here, right? So I don't think years ago you would see 3 representatives sitting at the same table talking about the same thing, right? So, and the good thing is each school has its unique qualities. However, from a synergy standpoint, providing that education, you guys are all aligned, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
It's a service to the students, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Yes. So we do need a motion to just accept these school improvement plans. It would be Furnace Brook Middle School, Daniel Webster School, Governor Winslow's, Martinson Elementary School, and Amesway School.
So moved.
So moved from Mr. Greer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? That's a 4-0-0 there, Ms. Pazerski. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate you. Next up on the agenda is an update on the potential partnership with the South Shore Vocational Technical School, and I'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino.
Yeah, this might be myself and Mr. Miller. There's not it's not going to be a long presentation. Just wanted to let you know we're still in works with Dr. Hickey, the superintendent of schools over at South Shore Vocational School, the regional district, and going through some of the the financial issues that will arise with the partnership to make sure that we're putting ourselves in a good spot, as well as obviously doing what we need to do to support the regional if we are to join. Again, just to remind you, if we have a working group that will be meeting next week to kind of go over where we're at right now and some of the financials that were shared just with us about 2 weeks ago from South Shore Vocational School. We'll discuss those with that group and then eventually bring back a recommendation to the committee. But to join the regional, if we choose to go in that direction again, we need to have our town meeting pass this in the spring, as well as 6 of the 8 other districts to pass it sometime either in the spring or whenever they might have their meetings. We had hoped to try to do this where we'd be voting it this year and then having a chance to get in for the 23-24 school year, but that's just not going to work out. Some of the things that cropped up that we needed to discuss, we just weren't going to be able to get settled in time for the special town meeting this fall. So I'd rather do it right and make sure that our financial interests are best represented, as well as the interests of our students. And again, no one is questioning the programs. They're phenomenal over there, and I think many of our students will enjoy that experience. Again, we have, how many there right now, Tom? 5? 5. Mainly because they just haven't been able to take...
4 seniors and 1 junior.
Yeah, they haven't been able to take students who would like to go as a non-member school like they did in the past, just because the member districts are taking up all those spots, which you can understand they're enjoying it. One of the things that is a factor in this process is that they are looking hard at building a new high school. So if we were to join the regional district, when that high school gets passed, remember the process here, it's not easy. And there it's even more challenging because the cost of the school is going to be a lot more than they were when our high school was built. And you're looking at having to get it passed through 8 different towns, and if we were to be a member, it would be 9 different towns. So there's still a ways away with MSBA and all that kind of stuff, but that's one of the things that we have to look at. If we join, the town could be asked to assume some debt in the not too distant future. I mean, it's not going to happen right away in the next year or 2 or 3, but they're looking at, within the next 2 to 3 years, getting, the A-OK or the no on going forward. And once they go forward, all those schools that are members are going to be responsible for a percentage of that debt service. So we're kind of working on those numbers right now to make sure that our percentage reflects who we truly have in the building, and not because we're a bigger district than most of them, and so on paper it could look like we can take a bigger share, but in reality our numbers might not be that high over those first 3 or 4 or 5 years. So we're just trying to work out those details on that front, and then we can present back here. Am I leaving anything out, Mr. Miller?
Well, just besides the per pupil, which would be an ongoing cost, pretty similar to what we have now with our students going there. The 2 other components, as Mr. Granatino said, was the debt. They have no debt currently, which is a good thing. Absolutely no debt that they're paying right now. They just paid their last piece of debt off. But a potential school project is obviously on the horizon. So we've been working with Superintendent Hickey and their board. We'll be meeting. We're coming up with a formula that's going to be fair for both sides. So really based upon our enrollment there. The other piece is the stabilization fund. As part of the process of entering the regional agreement, they've had a stabilization fund at the district that's been put into for several years by the 8-member schools. So we're coming up with a proposal to pay into that stabilization fund for a brief period of time, 10-year period. We'll discuss it with our group, our planning group, to get their thoughts on it. But it's a reasonable amount. Right now, it's approximately $39,000 a year, but it's obviously we're still working through that. But that over a 10-year period. So that's the second piece of the component. That was kind of the unknown that had to be bargained between our district and their district.
So they've been putting into that stabilization fund for 25, 35 years since they started the vocational, and so this was kind of us buying into it in in essence, because we'd be reaping the benefit of having it, so we have to have some type of ownership in the process.
And that's based upon a percentage of potential students. It's a little bit higher percentage than what our percentage would be with the debt. We're working on that. So, but it's a give and take. It's a process.
Any questions, comments? Okay. Mr. Miller, sticking with you, we'll go to the capital budget, FY '24 to '25.
Sure. So this is a kind of a first, second read and a vote for the fiscal '24, fiscal '28. I can't believe we're talking about fiscal '28. In your packet, you had last year's capital planning program, where 5 items were approved. Our phone system upgrade, which has been completed, the multi-function activity school bus, which Ms. Milch actually mentioned in her report, which has been a great benefit for everybody in the district. Our front safety upgrades, which the principals mentioned as well at the elementary level. The paving at Governor Winslow, which Ms. Hubbard mentioned at our last meeting. And then one project where we received $75,000, actually $150,000, which hasn't been kicked off yet, is the concrete repair and brick and flashing repair, primarily at South River School and some at Ames Way. That's that project. We're working with Fred Russell on that to get that started. So those 5 items were approved last year. The planning program this year simply just takes the items that were left standing last year. So there's nothing new on here. Just a quick run through is the flooring at Daniel Webster. Daniel Webster is our last remaining school that has the old tile, which contains asbestos. It's say that word. It's not. There's nothing dangerous going on right now, but we have removed all the tiles. This would finish off Daniel Webster. So we prioritized that. If that passed in the spring, it would be done over next summer. Second project is the continuation of the air conditioning project at Furnace Brook Middle School. We did the whole 6th grade wing, the second floor on the 6th grade wing, and when we started that project, we put in the components that would allow for expansion for the rest of the building. So over a period of time, we plan on fully air conditioning Furnace Brook Middle School. The third item is also at Daniel Webster School. It's replaced the wood floor in the gymnasium and the wall pads. Several years ago, that floor cracked and buckled. It was repaired, but at that time, it was deemed that it would need to be replaced. So that's another item on our list. We have 4 schools that still need the paving at each elementary school. We're prioritizing Daniel Webster, so it's the Daniel Webster year. Prioritizing Daniel Webster for this cycle in fiscal '24. So those are the 4 items that are prioritized for capital budget for fiscal '24. The remaining 4 years of the plan, you'll see the Martinson roof, the Daniel Webster roof, accessibility issues at South River. That's one that's coming up. That's going to be a fairly large project. And then also some wood structure repair, primarily also at South River, but at a couple of the other elementary schools. But that's the entire plan. We whittled this down over the years. A few of these items obviously remain from the capital assessment that was done in 2014, 2015. So that's ongoing. We've addressed the majority of the items in that report, but obviously the roofs are the big items that were mentioned there, as well as the accessibility at South River. So moving forward, that's on the horizon, and they're obviously larger projects. Just briefly, the roof, there's still ongoing work with the solar panels on our roofs to fund the Martinson roof. the last update we received was 2 or 3 months ago, and it was still in process. They were still looking at the load bearing on the Martinson roof to move forward with that, with the scope and the plans for that. So we just received notification a couple days ago that we did not receive funding for the Martinson roof to get into their accelerated repair project for the MSBA. That was expected. But each year we put it in, we get a little bit closer. So we're going on 2 paths. If the solar panel project comes through, that's going to be funded 100%. So that's, obviously that's the path we'd like to take. MSBA would fund probably 55 to 60%. So that's pretty much the full plan. We did discuss with the principals. There's a few other items that we're formulating, but they're not going to be in this plan, but we will get them in the future.
Great. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Yes.
Any federal grants available for special needs?
No, none that I'm aware of. We've done several projects over the years, and none of that there was no grants involved.
Okay, because I know years ago, EPA used to show some money, maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would imagine when it first became an issue, it might have been, but I think that's, over time we've done, the last large project was at South River, and we took all the tiles out of that building, and we just need to wrap up Daniel Webster. So, yeah, I'm not aware of anything still around.
Well, this is more of I guess it's an house, right? So in the past, where we had the roof on front, if the member of the school committee that and I suggest that we do that on all capital projects.
Yes.
Because there was a number of, just as an example, right, the mechanic was complete and they walked away and said you're done.
Yeah.
We still have a bunch of punch lists on it. Right, and that's something like we did with Orlando. Right. I think that somebody should be involved in that.
Yeah,
So
that'd be great.
what's the threshold for a project manager to be mandated for a school project?
2.5 million, I believe. Yeah, so I believe it's 2.5 million.
If a project has to be
Project manager,
$2.5 million
owner's project
to
manager.
qualify for us to have a project manager beyond our own eyes and ears here, but to have an outside group, whether it's, right,
Yeah.
right. So this would qualify is what I'm getting at. So we'd have a project manager who would also be our eyes and ears.
Yeah, all we do is show money.
Yeah.
200,000 each.
Right.
So,
Well, the roof project is what I was focusing on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to have one for that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were focusing on.
Yeah, any project with the MSBA, you have to have the owner's project manager. The thresholds, the new state law changed. A lot of the thresholds have been increased. I'm not sure about that particular item with the project manager, but there's a lot of the thresholds that have changed with procurement.
we don't need to be, we just need a liaison.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
We're getting okay.
Yeah. No, and you helped out a lot on that project. That's good.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, is there a motion on the floor to approve the 5-year capital budget plan from FY '24 to FY '28? So moved, Ms. Boyd, thank you. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Greer. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, that's 4-0. This is okay. Next up on the agenda is, it's that time of year again, the delegate assembly at MASC.
So we have that starting tomorrow, actually. I'll be down there for the next couple of days. Hyannis for the MASS joint conference. And each year they have a slate of resolutions that come from school committees across the state. And typically we will look at them. We've had a chance to review them. In the past couple of years, we haven't voted them up down here in the committee. We've kind of left it up to the wise judgment of our delegate representative, and it's usually been Mr. Greer. And but I just wanted to present them and again, let the committee decide how they'd like to handle that. There's not that many this year.
There's 6 of them.
I think the number's a little smaller than years past. Yeah. And they're mixing it up. I believe the assembly vote is actually tomorrow afternoon, as opposed to typically they do it the last day or the second to last day. But
Is anyone planning on going?
I'll be there.
I can't make it.
Yeah, so the, oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, so I think our 2 orders of business are deciding whether or not I'll go through the resolutions one by one and just read them really quickly and we can decide whether or not I'll commit to vote. I look to the committee. If somebody would like to make a motion to vote on it, you can do so. If nobody makes a motion, we'll just bypass it. And allow the judgment of our representative that we will be in just a moment, because we do have to do that as well. I'd like to nominate Mr. Greer for that. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Boyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Raise your hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, that's 4-0-0 there, Ms. Pazerski. Congratulations, Mr. Greer. These resolutions are Resolution 1 regarding sanctuary laws for transgender students. Resolution 2 is to increase the maximum balance allowed by the Special Education Reserve Fund. And again, if you'd like to make a motion, you can certainly do so with a reminder that motions must be in the affirmative. Resolution 3 is membership of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. Resolution 4 is preserving local governance of Massachusetts schools. Resolution 5 is personal financial literacy education. Resolution 6 is the establishment of the Regional School Assessment Reserve Fund.
I have a question on that one,
Yes.
actually. Jeff, do you have any insight to what that actually means, going from 2% to 5% on the cap? And sorry to put you on the spot.
yeah, no, I don't know. This is
It would be number 6.
the reserve fund for regional districts.
I'm still trying to find it in my agenda here.
I'm not sure what the financial impact.
Yeah, I mean, I know that regional school districts do already have, they operate differently than a regular district, that they're allowed to have money carried over. They operate more like a business than we, unfortunately, cannot operate like. I'm not sure what the reserve fund means, but they do have, I forget the term. There's a term, something reserve, that they are allowed to carry over to the next fiscal year.
Okay. Yeah, sorry to put you guys on the
No,
spot.
that's okay.
I didn't know how regionals worked.
It's been a while. I was at Bridgewater for many years, but wasn't on the budget side of things there.
Now, as a reminder, folks, too, if we were to take a vote on any of these, it's not a binding vote on us to act on anything here in our district. And in fact, most of them, like Resolution 1, for example, is encouraging the legislature to act on something, but no bill has been filed in the legislature. So it has nothing to do with our operations here. It's simply as the delegate body of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees. So, we'll do one last call. If anybody has any of the resolutions they'd like to make a motion for us to support, if not, I'll close this portion of the meeting.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say for the record that, in the past when we voted, regardless of whether I agree or disagree, I carry forth the will of the committee.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's listed as well. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you very much, folks. We're going to our final agenda item of the evening, which is the acceptance of a couple of gifts that have been given to the district.
Well, one is going to be on hold because that's part of the Spotlight of Excellence that we had to move off, the rib cook-off. There's a rather generous donation that's coming to Rob and Ryan Lambert and our McKinney-Vento folks, and so we want to do that when they're here. They weren't, because we switched meetings. They were going to be here last week. They couldn't make it this week, but they are planning on being here on November 15th. So we'll do that one then. The other one came from Bay State Shredding, who gave us, how many binders did we get, Joey?
Like 120.
Yeah, a bunch. I saw them out there, I need some binders, and they just showed up out of the blue. But each school had a chance to come by and grab some if they needed it in the classroom or in the offices. So I just want to thank the Bay State Shredding for that donation, and it's being put to good use. And again, we'll talk more about the rib cook-off at the next meeting.
Is there a motion to accept the gift from the Bay State Shred? So moved. Ms. Brady, is there a second?
Second?
Second from Mr. Greer. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstaining? That's a 4-0 to Ms. Pazerski. We'll just go really quickly to our meeting minutes, and we've had some building up, and in our backlog, I think there's some that we still can't vote on. Yep, the July 19th, we can't vote on. October 11th. October 11th?
That was the town meeting, right?
Yes.
No.
No, I'm sorry, no, that's the one before town meeting.
I think you can.
We can vote on the 11th. So I'll give folks just a moment to look those over. And noting that there is an executive session. One day, Ms. Pazerski, I promise you, we will pass.
When I started, there were like 8 that had to be.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a special meeting just to approve minutes.
Any questions or comments on these meeting minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 11, 2022?
So moved.
So moved from Ms. Boyd, is there a second? Is there a second?
Second?
Second, thank you, Mr. Greer. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand and saying aye. Opposed and abstaining. That's 301 there, Ms. Pazerski. We'll do the same thing with the executive session minutes from that meeting, October 11th. Just ask you to take a quick look at those. And again, Ms. Brady was not there, so Mr. Greer is for the motion in the second.
Releasing?
This would be approved and released.
Yeah, motion to approve and release the executive session minutes from 11 October.
Motion's been made by Mr. Greer. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. This is a roll call vote there, Ms. Pazerski.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mr. Greer?
Yes.
Ms. Brady?
You can say abstain.
Yeah. Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Great, and we cannot pass the meeting minutes from October 17th. Great, so,
All right, we're too done.
not too bad. Okay, folks, this concludes our business tonight. We look forward to seeing you on the 15th. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved from Ms. Boyd. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Greer. That's a roll call there, Ms. Pazerski.
Mrs. Brady? Ms. Boyd? Mr. Greer?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.